All right, Instagram, we're going to have us a little word here real quick. So we talked the other day, right? Kind of briefly, just where I posted a picture of something that I do. I saw something that I just shared on my story earlier today, mentioning like vacation rental owners and things of that nature, effectively bugging their property to protect it. Now, a couple things here. When I first started dealing with classified information in the military, this was a big thing. All right, be careful what you talk about in hotel rooms. Now, it was no secret that freaking intelligence agencies have been bugging hotel rooms for many, many years since bugs became a thing. We know that. All right. Recently, the private sector has gotten more and more into it. A lot of that has to do with Airbnb and Verbo and things like that. Now, that's nothing against those services. Me and my wife use an Airbnb just about every time we travel. Okay. What it has to do with, these property owners need to protect their investment, and I get that. So what they'll do is they'll effectively bug it so they can keep tabs of what's going on. Now, I understand a lot of people value their privacy, in which case this is for you. And a lot of people have professions where they deal with secure information, intellectual property, things like that. And really, we start to see a lot more motivation for bugging these properties just with the proliferation of subscription-based adult websites, OnlyFans, Fansly, Pocket Stars, stuff like that. All right, you've all heard of all of them. And frankly, you know what? If you create content of any kind, follow some of the people on there, because they've got some of them using social media to market shit down to a science. Just throwing that out there. So having said that, there's a lot of, well, frankly, creeps in the world who know that stuff like that may go down in their rental property, and if you've got it on video, you've got it on video, and you basically got it without having to pay for it. All right. If you work with intellectual property, right, you have to assume that somebody's looking to take it. Someone look to take that and capitalize on your idea, right? If you work with sensitive information, you deal with executive protection like I do. You work in counter human trafficking, anything involving like high risk security, critical infrastructure protection, stuff like that. And I'm keeping this strictly to the civilian sector. Obviously, .mil and LE guys, you know what you have to keep secure and what doesn't matter. So if you have any information you need to keep secure that may be in that hotel room, you need to make sure you don't have any extra eyes. And while this won't catch everything, this device right here will catch a bunch of them. All right, this is the K18 Plus. I can't even begin to translate the name of it. I got it off Amazon. It's very similar to the K18 Bug Buster from TRS Pro. Now, I've had this and I use it quite a bit. As you can tell, I've kind of broke my adjustment knob off there. Now, one thing that's cool about this is even when you're in a field type setup, if you can get away with the visible light, which we'll show here in a minute, you can actually get away with charging this in the field if you need to. So like if you're doing the critical infrastructure protection thing, right, you could very easily keep this in your duty bag and look to make sure nobody's got like deer cameras sitting there watching your guard mount and stuff like that. And it just kind of plugs in like so. And as you can see, charging from a USB battery pack, and it'll even charge with my solar panel that is from TRS Survival that goes with me just about everywhere. So what this does is this works in 3 different ways. Okay, the first off, you screw on your conventional RF, your radio frequency antenna, cut it on, and the volume knob also adjusts your sensitivity, right? So I'm not catching anything, but as I get it closer to my phone, right, that antenna, you see it light up there a little bit? And the best way to show this, I'm gonna cut the sensitivity up just a touch. Right, that way it's kind of picking up us talking, or the radio freak. Now watch this when I get my Apple Watch right here. Watch what happens when it gets closer. Okay, this is looking for anything transmitting in the radio spectrum. All right, the next thing you can do with it, turn that off real quick. You take your RF antenna off, and you plug on this guy. Now I haven't played with this one too very much, but this you would use on your vehicle because this detects magnets. You might be able to hear it. Kind of got it down a little bit there. All right, I don't have anything magnetic close by. So let's see what it does here. All right, but when it starts to detect something, like I said, I've never used this much, but when it starts to detect something, you should get a light on at the end of that one. just because I haven't really bug swept many vehicles since I got this device. So I'm curious to try that. The last thing, and this is really important, this is probably what the private citizen wants this device for. Knocking my tripod around a little bit, not meaning to do that. There we go. So what this is not an ink pen. Well, it is an ink pen, but most importantly, I don't know if y'all see that. That is a hidden camera, okay? And that's the small kind of button type lens that you would typically see in some of these commercial off-the-shelf hidden cameras that property owners are using to secure their stuff. So when I tap, I forget what that button does. When I tap this button right here, you notice I've got that lens, right, which you can see through. Let me find my camera lens on here. Right there, right? And when I tap this button, it lights up red, and I'm sure you can see that on me. Okay, not quite as much. It lights up red. Now what those red lights do is when they hit a camera lens, see that? You see it glinting? Right there. Can't really see it that well in regular light. But you can see it very well right there. All right, so, and this is a very legitimate hidden camera. This is actually my body camera when I'm doing security gigs. So, what you would do, that's just your user's manual that comes with it. All right, you get that, the cord, and both antennas. So what you would do, when you get to your room, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these lights on. And I'm going to put my eye, all right, I'm going to put my eye right up against here, right up against this little eyepiece. And I'm going to look all over. I'm going to do a grid search, almost like a pattern search of every wall. Me personally, I like to start at the top down. Go across the top, down, and I do that down every wall and the ceiling, okay? That'll tell me if there's any cameras in there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, I'll take my Apple Watch off, leave my phone outside, and I'll cut this down till I'm just barely getting anything, like 1-2 blocks. So right here, I'll cut that down, right there. And then I would start sweeping, same, except this time I would go top to bottom instead of left to right, okay? And when it gets close to my phone, it's actually spiking, okay? So, that right there tells you if there's anything transmitting. This tells you if there's anything taking pictures. And if you're in your vehicle, you can run with this and it'll tell you if there's any magnetic signature. So this device can go a long way to keeping you secure. So if you travel quite a bit, especially if you deal with intellectual property or sensitive information, one of these devices right here, like I said, I got this on Amazon, it wasn't that expensive, is absolutely critical. Y'all stay dangerous.